Hey there friend, welcome back to another episode of Slow Brew Sunday. Clovey, you ready for a training walk? A little breakfast walk? I think she's ready.
You ready, baby?
I think she's ready. Okay, let's go. Off to walk on the trail.
Hello.
Hey Loon, did you hold down the fort? Hello, good morning. It has been a minute since I whipped out my camera to try to create any type of content, so it feels really good to get back into the groove of things. I took an unplanned break from creating content, from filming content specifically, and just in general from like posting on social media. There is some stuff going on in my personal life that I really just wanted to focus on and get through and do the work that sounded really exciting and fun to me, work that was bringing me joy. So for me, writing for my newsletter and focusing on a new project that I will share in a second, that's what I was focusing on. I was following what sounded fun, taking it easy, just trying to get through this thing. I know I'm sounding so cryptic. There's a reason I'm not sharing right now, but I will share at some point when I feel ready. I'm doing well, Andrew's doing well, everyone's healthy and good, so no need to feel worried. Despite taking a little break the past few weeks, I did focus on a project that is bringing me so much joy. If you are a part of our email fam, then you definitely already know, but I will share it here as well. I am launching a solo podcast born from our weekly newsletter, Slow Brew Sunday. So it is Slow Brew Sunday, the podcast. I am so excited to show up in this way through the headphones, audio form. If you enjoy our weekly newsletters, then I really think you're gonna enjoy this new format. I am just feeling so excited and fulfilled by this new avenue of content creation, and it's making me feel inspired in ways that I haven't felt since the OG blogging days. If you listen to podcasts, I hope that you'll tune into mine. It's gonna be launching hopefully the first Sunday of August, so I think that's August 6th. Expressing myself through long form content since the OG blogging days. When I started my blog almost a decade ago, I really enjoyed that long form writing. I've really enjoyed the process of creating long form video content, and I am just realizing more and more how much I love long form and how much less I enjoy the short form content. So like the TikToks and the Reels, it can be fun, but just not as fulfilling for me. And I think I've been feeling this resistance of like, oh, like I should try, because not everyone wants to watch a 15-minute video or listen to a 20-minute podcast, and that's fine. Like I'm not drawing like a hard line in the sand that I'm gonna stop creating short form altogether. But right now, my heart is just not in it, and I just want to make sure when I show up on those platforms that I'm adding value to your life in some way, whether it's feel good inspiration, a simple tip, a quick tutorial, a screen share. Like I want to show up intentionally. I don't have this grand scheme plan, but I do know what I love right now so much is writing my newsletter, recording my podcast, and filming for YouTube. Those are the 3 things that I really love. And then of course we've got Homebodies, which I'll show you some fun things we're working on over there. Those are the things that are bringing me a lot of joy and I'm gonna focus on, and I'll show up on Instagram and TikTok as I feel excited to. The last thing I wanna say about short form content versus long form content is that for me, the process of like writing and filming and just the joy I get from creating long form content is so much more fulfilling and gratifying for me, because it's like a slow burn that builds over time and it's more sustaining. But for like Reels and TikToks, so much work goes into it as well, but it's more instant gratification and it expires. So things that I created for Reels and TikTok 2 years ago, I don't even remember creating it, and people will probably never even see it. So to me, it's kind of sad that there's this like graveyard of content that I like poured my heart and time into that will never be seen again. But on YouTube, things just last longer. Videos that I created 2 or 3 years ago are still being enjoyed by people today, and I really love that. That just makes the process feel so much more exciting and less lost in a void. So today I'm working on podcast episode number 2. It's my goal to clean up my script a little bit and then to actually record it today. Fingers crossed I can get that done. I will show you a little bit of what it looks like behind the scenes of starting a podcast, which by the way, I literally said I would never ever do. I said I would never start a podcast for years, and I talk more about it in the first episode. But I want you to hear my intro that I made. I had planned on working with an editor, but my friend Meg told me about this program called Descript, and it completely unblocked me from being able to just go for it and try editing myself. In the long run, it'd be nice to have an editor, but I'm just trying to be really scrappy with it in the beginning and just test it out and make sure that this is something I enjoy doing, which I do. Let me play for you the intro.
You're listening to the Slow Brew Sunday podcast, the show that encourages you to take things slow, 1 cup at a time. I'm your host, Jules Acree, and I'm here to help you ease into your week with a weekly cup of encouragement, intentional shifts, and mindful productivity tips. So grab your favorite mug, take a deep breath, and let's slow brew together.
So as I mentioned, I'm using a program called Descript. I'm gonna try to record my screen so you can see. What I love about this program is that it essentially transcribes everything that I'm saying, and I can see it kind of like a Google Doc or a Notion doc. I can edit the ums out of it. If I say a word weird, I can just put the cursor and re-record that word, and it just makes it really nice. And I can also turn on this studio sound voice effect, which just kind of makes it feel like more like a podcast rather than like a naked mic. I don't know how else to explain it, but to be honest, I don't really know what I'm doing, but to me it sounds pretty good, and I've showed some friends. These are friends that I trust to give me honest feedback, and they've all been really happy with the sound quality as well. So anyways, if you're looking to start a podcast or even like a video podcast or YouTube, check out Descript. I've been enjoying it so far. This is not sponsored, by the way, but maybe one day. I hope to get some sponsors on the podcast. I also want to show you my Notion hub for podcast planning. This has been really fun for me to put together. Okay, so this is my podcast hub, and you can see my podcast art and the intro. I have kind of like a little episode structure-ish because I don't want it to be super structured the entire time, so it's just structure-ish. I'm figuring out what the workflow is gonna be for when I launch episodes. We're working on adding the podcast page to my website, which will be really cool to have. And then you can see down here my episode schedule. The first episode is potentially going to be called From Never to Now, Overcoming Limiting Beliefs and Launching a Podcast. That might change. And then the second episode is called Chronically Overbooked, Press Pause. So hope you can look forward to those 2 episodes. I plan on releasing them every Sunday with the newsletter. Nothing about the newsletter will change. There's just going to be more content in the newsletter, which makes it exciting, but we're not taking away anything. So rest assured, if you are a loyal subscriber of Slow Brew Sunday, the newsletter, you'll continue getting that, and the podcast is just extra content. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start working on episode 2 and just cleaning up that script, and then hopefully start recording something, and then break for lunch. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to another episode of Slow Brew Sunday. Before we dive into today's episode, I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for all the love and support we've received. Today's episode is for anyone who finds themselves chronically overbooked. If you struggle with saying no, people pleasing, or adding too much to your plate, then you are in the right place, and a safe one at that. In this episode, we'll explore the cycle of overbooking and offloading, understand why we fall into it, and how we can break free with a simple yet very powerful tool. This is one of my favorite little snacks. It feels like a little s'more, but I don't have marshmallows right now, but I will need to get them. And then if I could just get one of those hand torches to torch the marshmallow and put that on top of this. This is almond shorty cookies from It's All Good, which is the gluten-free bread brand that I get here in Austin. It's local. And this is made from upcycled pulp from Bronx Nut Milk, which is also another Austin local brand. So good. It's 2:13. We're supposed to leave for our dinner reservation at 4 o'clock. It's so early, but that was the only time we could get in. We made reservations at Uchiko, which is a sushi place in Austin, and I have been looking forward to this all week. I'm going to put my headphones on, blast through some emails. I've got some Homebody stuff to review. We just hired a content creator for Homebodies, which is a really new thing for me. I'm really excited to try it out. I've got a lot of things in the works, so I'm excited to share it all and roll it out with time. But I'm gonna hop on this treadmill. Let's do this. Yesterday was a pretty solid work day. I got podcast episode 2 recorded. I am mostly done editing it, so I'm gonna continue plugging away at that today, hopefully starting on episode 3. And then later today, I have a website meeting. We're doing this big migration from Squarespace 7.0 to Squarespace 7.1, which is something we should have done a long time ago. It's really boring to explain to you all on camera, but it is very important, and it's gonna make our lives a lot easier when we update the website and add new pages and products or things like that. So it's just something that has to happen. It's not cheap, it's not fun. That's what we're kicking off today. It's gonna take 3 weeks, but I am just glad that we're finally checking that off the list. I'm reviewing some design work because we're working on redesigning Slow Brew Sunday, the newsletter, with the updated branding since we have the podcast launching. So kind of looking through some versions of what it could look like. We use ConvertKit as our email platform, and while it's very archaic feeling and not the most fun to design in, but it's very functional and it delivers emails well, and the open rates are really high, blah, blah, blah. Yesterday we got sushi at Uchiko. It was so good. We were there for 2 to 2.5 hours and we ate so much. If you live in Austin or you're visiting Austin and you haven't been to Uchiko, definitely recommend it. Get the sake salmon, not sake the drink, the sake sashimi. It's salmon, preserved lemon, and yogurt skyr. It's so refreshing. It's always my first and last bite, no matter what I get. I haven't vlogged in a long time, so I don't even remember like what I last told you all, but I did want to share that my mom and I are officially going back to Korea in September, and it's just gonna be her and I. We were able to find someone to help take care of my brother. He's gonna stay at my house with Andrew, and then I have a family friend who knows Jason very well. In case you don't know, I have a brother with special needs, and this will be the first time my mom has been able to go away on a trip with just me. She deserves this. I want her to have the best trip ever. I want this to be the most memorable trip of her life with me, and I want her to go and do everything she wants to do. I just feel really grateful that I'm able to go back again, especially since we were just there in April. Honestly, just counting down the days till I can go again. That's update on my end. I'm going to hop into work and get stuff done. Today is one of those days where technology is just not my friend. I have been trying to make this ConvertKit code and design work, and it is driving me crazy. I'm feeling really discouraged. These are moments I don't always catch on camera. Like, it's one of those things that I want to like shake and scream and be like, I give up. But I can't give up because I have to get this done. But thankfully, this isn't something that's due right away. So I think what I might do is just take a pause. It's 12:42, I should eat lunch. Let me just show you my screen really quick. This is what we're working on designing, but the banner is not quite right. I feel like there's just a ton of green, so it doesn't feel like that different. And then we're trying to play around with a little different of a template for the podcast, and then nothing is really working out. We normally feature a new reader every week, and it's shown in like a graphic, but we want to try making it so that people can like click on someone's Instagram rather than it just being an image like this. So we're trying to make it a little more dynamic, but it is not easy. I don't like Century Gothic as a font, but it feels like the best option at this point in time because we want it to be something that most computers will be able to read. That's basically where I'm at right now. I'm hungry, so I'm gonna go eat something. PS, if you have a Central Market, or maybe it's at Whole Foods too, this pasta sauce is really good. It's called Minimalist, and the ingredients are so simple. It's just tomatoes, water, onion, garlic, olive oil, basil, and sea salt. I have a couple of their pasta sauces, and I also have their jelly. I like the design as well. Today very much felt like a meh day, but look how beautiful the light is in my office. It's like 6 something. This is like the most beautiful time of day. You can't really tell. You have to be here to understand how bright and beautiful it feels in my office, just as I'm about to leave my office and not come back. We are working on the mudroom, so come with.
We're gonna fit it in between the 2 walls, like vertical like this.
Okay, and then flip it
We're
up
gonna flip it
and
we have
scooch
to
it
slide
in. Okay.
It's not the right way.
What?
Yeah.
We had one job. I'm impressed. I really am impressed. This is great. You've never done this before. We made this up. We got the shiplap and it was just so hard to cut it and get it perfectly even. Obviously we have to fill in that gap, but we decided to put a shelf because we didn't want to have to make more cuts to go all the way up to the ceiling, so we put a shelf in. I think it looks pretty good. And then we're gonna mount that, obviously. Not bad. Well, friends, the mudroom is gonna be a minute. We still have some things left to do.
Yeah.
It's,
I mean, the big parts are in. Now it's finishing touches.
yeah, it's getting there. But Andrew's gonna go play pickleball with his friend. I'm gonna go eat ice cream and watch my K-drama. We're gonna say goodnight Say good night, Looney, Clovey. Good night, good night, good night. And we'll see you all in the next video. Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye.